So I'd created for the kids these email addresses that sort of like names, again, that you would never guess, that I will give them at some point in their lives when they're older. But before I go to bed almost every night.
Meghan, my God, you get praise every day, getting attention every day. You got to praise yourself on Mother's Day? Really? It's all branding. Did you notice it? It's all branding to make herself look more relatable and motherly.
She decided she didn't want to be a real princess because to be a real princess involves duty and responsibility, caring about other people. And so she just wanted to be a pretend princess in Hollywood. So she split her husband off from his royal family and then inked a $1 zillion deal with a bunch of media companies, and then all her projects flopped.
The fairy tale is crumbling, and Prince Harry is sitting in the wreckage completely alone. While his world burns around him, the one person who should be standing by his side has gone radio silent. Meghan Markle, the woman Harry has defended through every scandal, every controversy, every public meltdown, has suddenly developed a case of convenient amnesia when it comes to defending her own husband. Royal insiders are whispering that Harry is absolutely devastated by Meghan's refusal to publicly support him during the biggest crisis of his post-royal life. The Sentebale charity scandal has left Harry's reputation in tatters, and sources close to the situation reveal that behind closed doors, the Duke of Sussex is questioning everything about his marriage. This isn't just about a charity gone wrong. This is about a pattern that's becoming impossible to ignore. For years, we've watched Harry throw himself on the sword for Meghan time and time again. He walked away from his family, his country, his entire identity to protect her from criticism. He burned bridges with his father, his brother, and the institution that raised him, all in the name of defending his wife. But now, when Harry needs that same fierce loyalty returned, Meghan has apparently decided he's not worth the risk to her carefully curated brand. The silence is deafening, and according to palace insiders, it's tearing Harry apart. Royal historian Dr. Tessa Dunlop, who has been sympathetic to the Sussexes in the past, has delivered a scathing assessment that's sending shockwaves through both Hollywood and royal circles. She's calling out Meghan's strategic abandonment of Harry, and the implications are absolutely explosive. But this story goes so much deeper than one charity scandal. Industry insiders suggest we're witnessing the beginning of the end of the Sussex fairy tale, and Harry is starting to realize he might have made the biggest mistake of his life. The woman he gave up everything for is now treating him like damaged goods, and the parallels to Meghan's past relationships are becoming impossible to ignore. The charity that was supposed to be Prince Harry's lasting legacy has become his greatest nightmare. Sentebale, the organization Harry founded in memory of his beloved mother, Princess Diana, is now a complete smoking ruin that's losing donations faster than Harry can say damage control. The charity that once made Harry the darling of the philanthropic world has implicated him in a dumpster fire of bullying allegations and mismanagement that's left his reputation in absolute shambles. Dr. Sophie Chendoka, the former chairwoman of Sentebale, has delivered testimony that's painted Harry in the worst possible light. Sources close to the situation reveal that Harry specifically asked Dr. Chendoka to publicly defend Meghan Markle during previous controversies, essentially trying to turn the charity into another arm of the Sussex PR machine. When Dr. Chendoka refused to compromise her professional integrity, insiders claim Harry turned against her with a vengeance that shocked everyone involved. The bullying allegations against Harry were ultimately dismissed by the inquiry, but the damage was already done. The investigation revealed a pattern of behavior that showed Harry plotting against Dr. Chendoka after she refused to become his personal Meghan defender. Palace insiders whisper that Harry's transformation from the People's Prince into someone who would weaponize his mother's charity for PR purposes has left even his most loyal supporters questioning everything they thought they knew about him. But here's where the story takes an even more devastating turn. While Harry's charity empire crumbles around him, while his reputation gets dragged through the mud, while the organization he built to honor his mother faces potential closure, Meghan has been conspicuously absent from the conversation. The woman who never met a camera she didn't like, who's always ready with a statement about her latest business venture, has suddenly developed laryngitis when it comes to defending her husband. Royal experts are calling it a strategic abandonment, and the timing couldn't be more brutal for Harry. This isn't just some random controversy that will blow over in a news cycle. This is about the charity that connects Harry to his mother's legacy, the one thing that was supposed to be untouchable in his post-royal life. And Meghan's silence is speaking volumes about where her priorities really lie. But the Sentebale scandal is just the tip of the iceberg. Dr. Tessa Dunlop has just delivered the most brutal takedown of Meghan Markle that we've seen from someone who was previously Team Sussex. This royal historian and expert, who has defended the couple in the past, has completely changed her tune, and her assessment is absolutely devastating. Dr. Dunlop is asking the question that's on everyone's mind: where is Meghan's voice when Harry needs it most? According to Dr. Dunlop's explosive analysis, Meghan has conveniently found her voice for everything except defending her own husband. She's got plenty to say when she's hawking products, promoting her Netflix deals, or selling her lifestyle brand to anyone who'll listen. But when it comes to standing up for Harry during the biggest crisis of his post-royal life, Meghan has apparently gone mute. The contrast is so stark that even former Sussex supporters are starting to see through the facade. Dr. Dunlop points out that Harry has defended Meghan fiercely ever since they met, often going against the advice of his own family members. He's taken bullets for her reputation, sacrificed relationships with his father and brother, and walked away from centuries of royal tradition, all to protect Meghan from criticism. But now that Harry needs that same fierce loyalty returned, Meghan seems to have one focus and one focus only: selling her products and protecting her brand. The royal expert's assessment is particularly damning because it highlights how lonely Harry has become. While he's being trampled on by Sentebale critics and former colleagues, while his reputation gets shredded in the media, while his mother's charity faces potential collapse, Harry is fighting these battles completely alone. The woman who promised to be his partner through everything has apparently decided that defending him doesn't align with her current business strategy. But Dr. Dunlop's criticism goes even deeper. She's questioning whether Meghan's new Netflix deal, which is reportedly much less lucrative than their previous arrangement, might finally force her to find her authentic voice again. Remember the voice she used during that explosive Oprah interview? The voice that spoke truth to power against the British royal family? Dr. Dunlop is asking why that same passionate defender of justice has gone silent when her own husband needs protection. Industry insiders suggest that Meghan's silence isn't accidental, it's calculated. Sources close to the situation reveal that Meghan doesn't want to be associated with what she perceives as Harry's damaged goods. The bullying allegations surrounding Sentebale remind everyone of the workplace bullying claims that have followed Meghan throughout her royal and post-royal career. Getting involved in Harry's defense might force uncomfortable questions about her own behavior patterns, but this strategic silence is creating cracks in the Sussex foundation that might be impossible to repair. The fairy tale facade is crumbling faster than Harry and Meghan can control the narrative, and according to explosive reports from Radar, the couple is having regular heated arguments at home about how to handle the public relations nightmare that's consuming their lives. Sources close to the situation reveal that Harry and Meghan are fundamentally clashing over their response to the Sentebale fallout, and these disagreements are creating real tension within their marriage. The reports suggest that both Harry and Meghan feel like they're under constant attack, convinced that people are conspiring against them at every turn. But here's where it gets really interesting. They can't agree on how to fight back. Harry reportedly wants to come out swinging, to defend his charity work and his reputation with the same passion he's always shown when defending Meghan. But insiders claim Meghan is pushing for a completely different strategy, one that involves her staying as far away from the controversy as possible. According to these sources, the arguments happening behind closed doors at the Montecito mansion are becoming more frequent and more intense. Harry is reportedly devastated that the woman he gave up everything for won't even issue a simple statement of support. He's watching his reputation get destroyed while his wife calculates whether defending him will hurt her brand prospects. The emotional toll on Harry is said to be enormous, especially considering how he used to be the most popular member of the royal family. But the conflicting PR strategies reveal something much deeper about the state of their relationship. Palace insiders whisper that Harry and Meghan have always had different approaches to scandal management. Sometimes Harry pounces immediately, ready to fight back against any criticism. Other times, like when they were pressed about the identity of the royal racist after their Oprah interview, they go completely silent and hope the story dies down. The inconsistency in their responses suggests that behind the scenes there's no unified Sussex strategy anymore. They're making it up as they go along, and the cracks in their partnership are starting to show. Sources suggest that Harry is particularly frustrated because he feels like Meghan has abandoned the fighting spirit that first attracted him to her. Where's the woman who took on the entire British establishment? Where's the fearless advocate who spoke truth to power? Industry insiders suggest that these home arguments aren't just about PR strategy. They're about fundamental differences in what Harry and Meghan value. Harry still cares deeply about his reputation, his legacy, and his connection to meaningful causes like Sentebale. But rumors are swirling that Meghan has moved on to focusing entirely on her business ventures and celebrity status. The tension is reportedly so intense that friends of the couple are starting to worry about the long-term survival of the marriage itself. If you want to understand what's happening to Harry right now, you need to look at Meghan's relationship history, because the pattern is absolutely chilling. This isn't the first time Meghan has strategically distanced herself from someone the moment they stop being useful to her career ambitions. Industry insiders are pointing to a devastating pattern of behavior that should have Harry seriously questioning his future. Let's start with Trevor Engelson, Meghan's first husband. According to reports, Meghan got rid of Trevor the minute she landed a significant part in the television series Suits. Trevor had been useful when Meghan was struggling to get acting parts because he was a television producer with industry connections and reputation. But the moment Meghan's star started rising, Trevor suddenly outgrew his relevance in her life. Sources suggest she simply walked away from the marriage without looking back, leaving Trevor blindsided by her sudden coldness. But the Trevor situation is just the beginning. If you believe the reports in Tom Bower's explosive book Revenge, along with other stories that have circulated in Hollywood circles, Meghan also abandoned her chef boyfriend in Toronto the second she caught wind that she could be introduced to Prince Harry. This chef had elevated Meghan's status in the local Toronto scene, getting her invitations to red carpet events and introducing her to celebrity circles that she never would have accessed on her own. According to these reports, Meghan was happily enjoying the benefits of this relationship, basking in the elevated social status that came with dating a well-connected celebrity chef. But the moment someone told her they had a prince they'd like to introduce her to, the chef was given the boot faster than you could say royal wedding. Sources suggest that Meghan's ability to completely cut off someone who had been instrumental in her social climbing was absolutely ruthless. The pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. Meghan appears to have a history of using people for what they can offer her, then discarding them the moment someone better comes along or the moment they become inconvenient to her image. Americans don't like losers, and more importantly for this story, Meghan doesn't like losers. She's built her entire post-royal brand around being a winner, a successful entrepreneur, a lifestyle guru who elevates everything she touches. Now Harry finds himself in the exact same position that Trevor and the Toronto chef once occupied. His stock has fallen dramatically since leaving the royal family. The Sentebale scandal has made him look weak and potentially problematic. His popularity has plummeted from being the most beloved royal to one of the least popular. And suddenly, Meghan is nowhere to be found when he needs support. Palace insiders whisper that Harry is starting to realize he might be the next person on Meghan's discard pile. The most shocking revelation in this entire saga came from one of the most respected publications in the world, and it's a bombshell that should have Harry absolutely terrified about his future. Vanity Fair, a publication known for its rigorous fact-checking and legal scrutiny, dropped an explosive report earlier this year that someone from Meghan's camp was shopping around a potential divorce book. They wanted to know exactly how much money Meghan Markle could make if she decided to tell her side of the story about her marriage to Prince Harry. This isn't some tabloid gossip or unverified rumor from an anonymous source. This is Vanity Fair, a publication that has lawyers on their payroll who comb through every single story to make sure nothing even remotely close to a lawsuit makes it to print. When Vanity Fair publishes something this explosive, you can bet they have the receipts to back it up. And here's what makes this revelation even more devastating. Harry and Meghan never threatened to sue Vanity Fair over this report, and they never denied it either. Think about that for a moment. This is a couple that has sued media outlets for far less serious claims. They've gone after newspapers for publishing private letters. They've fought legal battles over paparazzi photos. They've threatened litigation over stories that barely scratch the surface of their personal lives. But when Vanity Fair reports that Meghan's team is literally shopping around a divorce tell-all book, complete silence from the Sussex camp. The financial implications of this revelation are absolutely staggering. Sources suggest that Meghan would be significantly richer as a divorcee than she currently is as Harry's wife. Think about it. A divorce would give her the ultimate revenge story that publishers and streaming services would pay millions to acquire. Netflix, which has seen disappointing returns on their current Sussex content, would suddenly have the most explosive celebrity tell-all of the decade on their hands. Industry insiders are whispering that a potential divorce book would be called something like Meghan My Story, and would detail everything from the alleged racism within the royal family to behind-the-scenes drama in her marriage to Harry. The same woman who was so bitter and angry during that Oprah interview would finally have free rein to say everything she's been holding back. Publishers know that a scorned Meghan Markle would deliver pure gold in terms of shocking revelations and media coverage. But here's the most chilling part of this entire revelation: the timing of when Meghan's camp started shopping this concept around. Sources suggest this inquiry about a potential divorce book happened while Harry was still publicly defending their marriage, while he was still telling audiences that the divorce rumors were ridiculous, while he was still playing the role of the devoted husband. The fact that Meghan's team was quietly exploring divorce book deals while Harry remained completely in the dark suggests a level of strategic planning that should terrify anyone who thought this marriage was built on genuine love. The entertainment industry is buzzing with rumors about why Netflix would even remotely want to stay connected to Harry and Meghan after their content has been such a massive disappointment. Their cooking show with Meghan was critically slammed across the board, with The Guardian describing it as some of the worst television they'd ever seen. Harry's content has failed to generate the massive viewership numbers that would justify their original $100 million deal. So why hasn't Netflix cut ties completely? Industry insiders suggest the answer is absolutely chilling. Netflix is playing the long game, and they're betting on a Sussex divorce. Sources close to the streaming giant reveal that executives have seen firsthand how vengeful and bitter Meghan can be when she feels wronged. They witnessed her explosive performance during the Oprah interview, and they know that a divorced Meghan would be an absolute content goldmine that could generate hundreds of millions in revenue. Think about the math from Netflix's perspective. Right now, they're getting mediocre cooking shows and lifestyle content that barely registers with audiences. But a divorce would suddenly give them access to the most explosive royal tell-all in modern history. A bitter, angry Meghan with nothing left to lose would deliver the kind of shocking revelations that would break the internet and dominate global headlines for months. Netflix executives reportedly resent the fact that they didn't get the Oprah interview, that they weren't Meghan's first stop when she decided to go nuclear on the royal family, but they're positioning themselves to be her platform of choice when the marriage inevitably implodes. Sources suggest that Netflix is essentially keeping the Sussex relationship alive as an insurance policy, waiting for the moment when Meghan decides to burn everything down. The streaming service has reportedly studied the numbers from other high-profile divorce tell-alls, and the potential revenue is staggering. A Meghan divorce special would combine royal scandal, celebrity drama, racism allegations, and behind-the-scenes marriage secrets into one explosive package that would be absolutely irresistible to global audiences. Industry insiders suggest it could easily become Netflix's most-watched original content of all time. But here's what makes this strategy even more calculated. Netflix knows that Meghan's post-divorce content would be far more valuable than anything they could get from her while she's still married. As Harry's wife, she's constrained by their joint brand, their shared custody considerations, and the need to maintain some level of dignity for their children. As his ex-wife, all those constraints disappear, and she would be free to reveal everything. Sources close to the situation suggest that this is exactly why Spotify was so quick to dump the Sussexes. They felt like they didn't get the real goods, just surface-level content about archetypal complaints and lifestyle advice. Netflix, on the other hand, is willing to wait for the main event. The question now is whether Harry realizes he's being positioned as the villain in his own divorce story. Harry recently sat on a stage in New York, laughing off all the divorce rumors with the kind of forced joviality that should make anyone who remembers royal history extremely nervous. His public dismissal of the speculation sounded eerily similar to the denials we heard for years before the truth about Princess Diana and Prince Charles finally exploded into public view. The parallels are so striking that royal experts are getting serious déjà vu about this entire situation. Anyone old enough to remember the whispers that circulated for years before Diana and Charles's marriage imploded will recognize the pattern we're seeing now. There were always rumors, always speculation, always sources suggesting that behind the palace walls, things were far from the fairy tale the public was being sold. But the royal family has always been exceptionally good at maintaining public facades while private chaos consumes their lives behind closed doors. Tina Brown's explosive Vanity Fair reporting was the first time the public got a real glimpse into the absolute disaster that Charles and Diana's marriage had become. Before that piece, most people still believed they were looking at a fairy tale romance. The revelations about the fighting, the separate lives, the complete breakdown of communication came as a shock to a public that had been fed carefully crafted public appearances and strategic photo opportunities. Royal insiders are suggesting that Harry and Meghan are following the exact same playbook right now. They're maintaining the public appearance of a united front, while sources close to the situation reveal that behind closed doors, their marriage is under unprecedented strain. The difference is that unlike Charles and Diana, who were constrained by royal protocol and centuries of tradition, Harry and Meghan have no institutional pressure to stay together. The forced laughter in New York, the strategic social media posts showing family happiness, the carefully coordinated public appearances, it all feels like performance art designed to contradict the growing mountain of evidence that this marriage is in serious trouble. But royal watchers who lived through the Charles and Diana saga know that the bigger the public denials, the more likely it is that the private reality is even worse than the rumors suggest. Palace insiders whisper that Harry's public dismissal of divorce rumors is becoming increasingly desperate. Sources suggest that he's trying to convince himself as much as he's trying to convince the public. The man who once had the confidence of someone born into ultimate privilege now sounds like someone trying to hold on to something that's already slipping through his fingers. But here's what makes Harry's situation even more precarious than his father's was. Charles had the full weight of the monarchy behind him when his marriage fell apart. Harry has no institutional support, no palace protection, and no guarantee that Meghan won't decide to destroy him completely if she chooses to walk away. The whispers are getting louder, and Harry's denials are starting to sound increasingly hollow. Meghan's recent return to Instagram has provided the most unintentionally symbolic moment of this entire saga, and royal watchers are having a field day with the implications. After staying conspicuously silent about Harry's Sentebale scandal, Meghan decided to announce their new Netflix deal on social media. But eagle-eyed followers noticed something absolutely hilarious and deeply symbolic. There was a bug crawling around on the cookies she was showcasing in her post. This is a woman who has built her entire post-royal brand around elevating moments, paying attention to details, and creating aspirational lifestyle content. Meghan specifically markets herself as someone who understands that details matter, someone who can transform ordinary experiences into something magical and Instagram-worthy. But when she finally breaks her silence to promote her business ventures, she can't even notice there's an actual insect contaminating her carefully curated food photography. The irony is absolutely delicious, and it's serving as the perfect metaphor for everything that's wrong with Meghan's approach to her marriage and her career right now. She's so focused on the surface-level aesthetics, so obsessed with maintaining her brand image, that she's completely missing the massive problems that are crawling all over her supposedly perfect life. The bug on the plate represents everything she's not paying attention to while she chases her next business deal. Royal commentators are pointing out that this Instagram post perfectly encapsulates Meghan's priorities right now. She had nothing to say when Harry was getting destroyed in the media over Sentebale. She offered no public support when his reputation was being shredded by former colleagues. But the moment she had a new Netflix deal to announce, suddenly she found her voice and her social media password. The symbolism gets even worse when you consider what Meghan was actually promoting in that post. This is supposed to be content that showcases her sophisticated palate, her attention to culinary details, her ability to create elevated experiences. Instead, she's inadvertently showing the world that even her most basic quality control is falling apart. If she can't manage to keep bugs out of her cookie photography, how can anyone trust her to manage the complex dynamics of a marriage under intense public scrutiny? Industry insiders are suggesting that the bug incident is representative of a larger pattern of sloppiness that's becoming characteristic of Meghan's business ventures. Her products consistently sell out because she limits quantities to create artificial scarcity, but then customers discover the items aren't actually available. She launches podcasts that get canceled, cooking shows that get panned, and lifestyle content that feels disconnected from reality. But the most damning aspect of this Instagram moment is what it reveals about Meghan's current focus. While Harry sits alone dealing with the wreckage of his charitable legacy, while their marriage faces unprecedented strain, while divorce rumors swirl around them constantly, Meghan is worried about selling cookies and promoting Netflix deals. The bug on the plate is crawling through more than just her Instagram post. It's crawling through everything she's supposed to be protecting. The contrast between the two royal brothers right now couldn't be more devastating for Harry, and it's a comparison that must be eating him alive every single day. While Harry sits in Montecito fighting with his wife about PR strategies and watching his reputation crumble, Prince William and Catherine are planning their forever home and building the kind of stable, loving family life that Harry thought he was going to have when he walked away from everything. William and Catherine have just announced their move to Forest Lodge in Windsor Great Park, and the symbolism is absolutely beautiful. They're calling it their forever home, a place where they want to create new memories after the incredibly difficult year they've endured with Catherine's cancer diagnosis. This isn't just about real estate. This is about a couple that's weathered serious storms together and come out stronger on the other side. But here's what makes this story even more poignant. William is paying for all the renovations to Forest Lodge out of his own pocket. The couple will be paying commercial rent for their forever home, and the renovations could cost well over £1 million. This is the complete opposite of what happened when Harry lived at Frogmore Cottage, where British taxpayers had to cough up around £2.5 million for renovations that were never enough to satisfy Meghan anyway. The financial contrast tells you everything you need to know about the two brothers' approaches to responsibility and family. William is investing his own money into creating a stable home for his children, a place where they can grow up with security and love. Harry, on the other hand, spent taxpayer money on renovations for a woman who ultimately decided that nothing in Britain was good enough for her anyway. Royal insiders are whispering that the forever home announcement must be particularly painful for Harry because it represents everything he gave up when he chose Meghan over his family. William and Catherine are building their future together, creating lasting memories, planning for their children's happiness. Meanwhile, Harry is reportedly having regular arguments with his wife about whether she should even acknowledge his existence during his biggest crisis. The contrast becomes even starker when you consider what each couple is building toward. William and Catherine are creating a legacy of service, stability, and family unity that will benefit their children and the monarchy for generations. Harry and Meghan are creating content for streaming services and arguing about damage control while their marriage falls apart in real time. Palace sources suggest that Harry occasionally sees glimpses of his brother's life through social media and news coverage, and the comparison is absolutely crushing. William has everything Harry thought he wanted: a wife who supports him unconditionally, children who are growing up in a stable environment, and a clear sense of purpose that goes beyond personal brand management. But perhaps the most devastating part of this comparison is realizing that Harry could have had all of this if he'd chosen differently. The evidence is mounting from every direction, and Harry can't ignore it much longer. His wife's strategic silence during his biggest crisis, her pattern of abandoning people when they become inconvenient, the divorce book shopping, Netflix's calculated waiting game, and now the stark contrast with his brother's stable family life, it's all pointing to the same devastating conclusion. Harry is starting to realize he might have made the biggest mistake of his life. Palace insiders whisper that Harry Harry's devastation goes far beyond just feeling unsupported during the Sentebale scandal. This is about a man who gave up his family, his country, his entire identity for a woman who now treats him like damaged goods the moment his stock starts falling. The prince, who was once beloved by millions around the world, has become one of the least popular royals, and the person who should be helping him rebuild has essentially abandoned him to focus on selling lifestyle products. Industry sources suggest that Harry is finally starting to see the patterns that everyone else has been pointing out for years. Meghan's history of discarding people when they're no longer useful, her calculated approach to relationships, her ability to completely shut off emotional connections when they conflict with her business interests. It's all becoming impossible for Harry to ignore. The fairy tale he thought he was living is revealing itself to be a carefully constructed business arrangement. But here's what makes Harry's situation so tragic. Even if he's starting to realize the truth about his marriage, his options for escape are extremely limited. He's burned bridges with his family, he's lost credibility with the British public, and he's financially dependent on the same entertainment industry deals that would benefit massively from his potential divorce. Harry has painted himself into a corner where leaving Meghan might be just as devastating as staying with her. The reports about regular arguments at home, the conflicting PR strategies, the growing isolation from former friends and colleagues, it all suggests that Harry is living in a pressure cooker that's about to explode. Sources close to the situation reveal that Harry occasionally reflects on his old life, wondering what would have happened if he'd chosen family loyalty over romantic passion. Royal experts are suggesting that Harry's public denials of divorce rumors are becoming more desperate because he knows the writing is on the wall. When your wife won't defend you during your biggest crisis, when she's already exploring post-divorce business opportunities, when even her Instagram posts reveal how little attention she's paying to the details that matter, the future becomes pretty clear. The most heartbreaking aspect of this entire saga is that Harry sacrificed everything for a love that appears to have been conditional all along. He thought he was choosing true partnership over royal duty, but he's discovering that he actually chose isolation over family, business arrangement over genuine connection, and temporary passion over lasting stability. The fairy tale is over, and Harry is finally waking up to reality. The question now is whether it's too late to salvage anything from the wreckage of his choices. So what do you think? Is Harry finally realizing he's been played, or is this just another rough patch that the Sussexes will survive? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if this opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the scenes, and make sure you're subscribed because we're just getting started with these royal revelations. The next video is waiting for you, and trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.